Good day, class. So, I am Venice Marique de los Santos from Vitaled HU 1A, the little teacher of Study Hub number 8. So, before we proceed to our topic, let me introduce to you our learning objectives. So, learners are expected to learn the factors that affecting children's development. Second, to identify the different factors. And lastly, to understand the key aspect that influence child development. So our lesson for today is all about factors affecting child development. So Miss Rose and Abejero will discuss to you about socioeconomic factor, cultural factor, and family dynamics. While Miss Pandalan Roslyn will discuss to you about health and nutrition and also the emotional factors. So as I said, our lesson for today is all about factors affecting child development. So here are the factors. I'll be discussing the three factors, which are biological factor, prenatal factor, and the physical environment. So first is biological factor. So biological factors include genetic influence and also the brain chemistry. So what is this genetic influence? By the word genetic or genes that we can get for our parents or our ancestors, like the color of our eye and hair color, skin color, and many more. So while brain chemistry, it shapes our experience, meaning a child can experience a good thing in his or her childhood, he or she can enhance the production of neurochemical that are important for our brain. Important for our brain development. As Jean Piaget said, that children learn through experience. So let's proceed to our next factor, which is prenatal factor. So prenatal factor. So the next factor is prenatal factor. So it affects the child development because it is a condition or exposure that can affect a developing fetus. For example, maternal health. Example, a mother is taking care of her body or maintaining a healthy diet, receiving prenatal care, and avoiding any consumptions of alcohol and smoking. It comes or it can have an outcome that the baby will be healthy when it get born. So unlike if a mother having an environmental exposure like in transfections or having a substances in utero can lead a cognitive impairments. So let's proceed to our next factor, which is physical environment. So what is this physical environment? These are the external surrounding and condition in which we are influenced, which are influence our personal health. So examples are living conditions. So access to safe housing, nutrition, and food, and adequate healthcare are essential for healthy development. A child living in a home with lead paint might experience developmental decay due to lead poisoning. Another example is exposure to pollution. So if an environmental toxin such as air pollution can negatively affect cognitive and physical development, leading to respiratory problems of a child, it developmental delays and other health issues. Other health issues that can be developed by any pollution or environmental toxin. And also, if children living in an area with high level of air pollution, it might have a higher risk of developing asthma or other respiratory problems. Let's proceed to the next factors, which will be discussing by Ms. Rose Ann Abejero. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Rosa Eber. I'm from Study Hub number 8. So today I will be discuss about socio-economic factors, cultural factors, and family dynamic. So I will be give you a short recap about Miss Venice discussed to you. So Miss Venice discussed about biological factors, prenatal factors, and physical environment. So, first, socioeconomic factors. Socioeconomic factors refers to social and economic elements that influence an individual or community living conditions, opportunities, and quality of life. These factors include income, education, occupation, and social status, and access to resources. They can impact health, access to services, job opportunities, and social mobility. So, example of socioeconomic factors. Income level. Higher income can lead to better access to healthcare, education, and housing, while lower income may result in limited access to these resources. Another example, education. Higher levels of education typically open doors to better employment opportunities and higher wage, influencing overall economic stability and social status. These socio-economic factors are interconnected and can have a significant impact on people's life, outcomes, and opportunities for advancement. So, occupation. The type of a job a person has can affect their income, social status, and lifestyle, while collar jobs typically come with better benefits. So next, cultural factors. Cultural factors refers to shared values, beliefs, custom behaviors, and tradition that shape a group of people's way of life. These factors influence how individuals think, interact with others, and perceive the world around them. Cultural norms and practices are passed down through generation and can significantly impact societal roles, communication style, and even economic behaviors. So here's our example of cultural factors. First, language. The language spoken by a community can influence communication, education, and access to information. It can also affect how people identify with their cultural group and form social connection. Here's another example, tradition and custom. Cultural traditions such as wedding, ceremonies, festivals, or rites of passage can shape social behavior and create a sense of identity and belonging with a community. Cultural factors are deeply embedded in the daily lives of individuals and communities, and they influence everything from personal identity to social progress. They also play a critical role in shaping intellectual relationship and communication. So the last one is family dynamic. Family dynamic refers to the patterns of behavior, roles, relationship, and interaction that occur within a family. These dynamics are influenced by factors such as culture, socioeconomics, status, individual personalities, and societal expectation. Family dynamics can shape how family members communicate, resolve conflicts, support one another, and navigate changes. So the key factors of family dynamic, roles and responsibility. In every family, each member often has a specific role. These roles can be based on age, gender, or personal traits, and they influence family structure and responsibility. For example, parents might be responsible for providing for the family, while children might be expected to focus on schoolwork. So, example, single-parent family. In a single-parent family, one parent is responsible for job, providing for the family, and taking care of the children. This dynamic can influence how children perceive roles of independence, responsibility, and emotional support. Family dynamics are constantly evolving and can change in response to life events, external influence, or shift in individual growth and development. Understanding family dynamics helps to foster better relationship and improve communication among family members. So that's all. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something.
So hello guys, so my name is Venice Marie de los Santos, the little teacher of Study Hub number 8. So before we proceed to my next topic, which are the two factors that affecting child development, let me also recap to you the three factors which have discussed by Miss Abejero. So she had already discussed about socioeconomic factors, cultural factors, and family dynamic. So I will be discussing also the other factors which affecting or influence child developments, which are social environment and um, educational factors. So, social environment is a physical and a social setting where people live, work, and interact with each other. For example, a child who lives in a disadvantaged neighborhood during early childhood will experience reduced cognitive development and academic performance. Now, let's proceed to our second factor, which is educational factor. So, educational factor, a child, a child, a child or a school environment significantly influence their cognitive and social development. So, a supportive school setting can enhance a child's cognitive skills like in a problem solving, critical thinking, and also achieving other goals or achieving achievements. Ah, yes. Thank you.
So good day everyone, especially to you Coach Jude. I'm Rosalind Pandalan from Bitalat HU1E. Today, I will discuss to you the two factors that can influence child development. First is health and nutrition factors and emotional factors. Before we proceed, I will give a short recap regarding the social environment and educational factors. Social environment encompasses various factors that can influence human behavior, interaction, and relationship within a community. Psychologists believe that the cognitive development of the child depends on the interactions with adults and environmental circumstances, while educational factors influence the learnings and academic performance of the children. So let's proceed to the next topic, which is health and nutrition factors. So health and nutrition factors. Health and nutrition plays a crucial role in child development, influencing the physical, cognitive, and emotional growth of the children. So guys, alam naman natin na malaki ang impact or how important the food is, especially in child. Sufficient amount of nutrition can help children develop their physical, cognitive, and emotional. So, I will play a short video to explain how important nutrition in child development.
Kapag ang bata ay may tamang nutrisyon, siya ay may tamang timbang at tangkad, may malusog na pangangatawan at pag-iisip, lalaking matalino, mabilis matuto, matalas ang isip at memorya. Mataas ang resistensya at hindi basta-basta nagkakasakit. Ang bata din ay makakaiwas sa obesity o labis na timbang at makakaiwas din sa mga chronic diseases sa pagtanda katulad ng type 2 diabetes, hypertension at iba pang cardiovascular diseases.
We will proceed to the next factor that can influence the child development. Emotional factors play a vital role in child development, influencing cognitive, social, and psychological growth. So dito naman sa emotional factors, it talks about emotion of the child. A children's relationship with a caretaker will give the ability to express both positive and negative emotion. So dito kapag naramdaman ng bata that she or he is safe, supported, and loved by his family, the empathy and self-confidence niya is madedevelop.
Children who experience physical, cognitive, or emotional neglect, say because their mother was sick and their father was busy, often face anxiety. As a result, their body produces stress hormones. If this happens a lot, these hormones become toxic for their developing brain, which then later can repress emotional and cognitive well-being for life. The real story of Daniel Rucarianu, who spent part of his early childhood in a Romanian orphanage, shows the full impact neglect can have. The story began in 1966 when Romania's then leader Nicolae Ceausescu wanted to make his country a world powerhouse and came up with laws to increase the country's population. Abortion and contraception were declared mostly illegal. While the law led to a rapid rise in birth rates, many of the poorer families were unable to take care of all their children, and Daniel and around 500,000 others were sent to state-run institutions. In most orphanages, there were no toys, no books, or anything else to stimulate cognitive development. Many kids just stared at the bare ceilings, waiting for their next meal. Due to the lack of human contact, some babies develop strategies for self-stimulation, such as rocking back and forth. The cognitive neglect often led to lower IQ scores, delayed language development, and a lack of creative thinking. This happens because our brains build connections with every new experience and stimulation. If there are no rich experiences during the first years of life, the period in which the brain develops the fastest, children cannot build the foundations necessary for optimal future learning. They miss out for life. Daniel lived with over 400 other children, and their shared bedrooms were hardly ever cleaned. The meals were mostly tiny portions of boiled cabbage, which the staff would sometimes steal to eat themselves. Some supervisors used violence to control the orphans. Others encouraged the older kids to beat Daniel, to humiliate him and exercise authority. The consequences of physical neglect and lack of basic nutrients caused most orphans to suffer from stunted growth. Some children contracted HIV and hepatitis B as a result of the reusing of medical supplies. The physical abuse caused severe bruising and other injuries. The overworked and undertrained staff hardly ever soothed the crying children. In fact, they barely spent any time with Daniel at all. Some children were left completely alone with their worries. Others hid their feelings from the very people who ought to protect them, since they feared being hurt. Emotional neglect and anxiety lead to an excessive production of the stress hormones known as adrenaline and cortisol, which is like poison for the developing brain. But the experience also distorted the children's understanding of love and human relationships. They learned to trust nobody, and as adults, often suffered from depression, insomnia, and social anxiety. When Ceausescu's regime was eventually overthrown and the conditions inside the orphanage were shown on television, researchers from around the world came to examine the nameless children. MRI scans later showed that some had smaller volumes of brain mass. The resulting research made a strong case that not only is nutrition vital to a child's development, but so is human contact. To help the children, a large number were adopted into foreign families. But even after being adopted, many had problems forming loving bonds to their new parents. This aligns with the attachment theory and the notion that a child needs to establish a loving relationship with at least one primary caregiver early in life. Daniel was quite lucky with his family. While he continued to experience trauma and anxiety, he went on to have a university education, started a family of his own, and later he founded a non-profit organization for neglected children. If you grew up in a loving environment, count yourself really, really lucky. If you experienced forms of neglect, try to internalize the idea that it was never your fault, and maybe not even your parents' fault either. To read what we think can be done if you have ever experienced neglect, read the descriptions below. One way is to share your thoughts about neglect and how you think it affects you today. This and all other Sprouts videos are licensed under Creative Commons. That means teachers from all around the world can use them in classrooms, online courses, or to start projects. And today, thousands already do. To learn how it works and download this video without ads or background music, check out our website or read the description below. If you want to support our mission and help change education, visit our Patreon. That's patreon.com/sprouts.
The conclusion of overall topic that we mentioned earlier has an impact in child development. To create and support a healthy environment for the children, we should know and understand these factors to be able to address the needs of the children in their development. As a future educator, we should know and understand these factors and how these factors influence in children development. We can also help children in their development, especially physical, cognitive, emotional growth. And that's all my reports. Thank you.